G'day, folks. A breaking pod for the Beaver 42 podcast. We have injuries galore from round three going into round four. Beaver, where do people look for replacements in here? And we start with Cleary, who's out for 4 to maybe 2 weeks at best.
Yeah, look, interesting because he came off 8 minutes early, I think, right? They had the game wrapped up, but didn't look in a lot of discomfort. So you wouldn't have thought it would be that serious, So I think they're just putting him on a bit of cotton wool, make sure that he's looked after, so that he's nice and fresh as well, right? Um, so yeah, replacement for Cleary. It's pretty hard to replace the best player in the game.
Yeah, that's right. And to be honest, they got 2 games and then a bye. So I'd be surprised if he played next week and then he'd be ready for round the fourth
Yeah, agreed.
time, I reckon. So
Yeah.
so not huge for them. Parramatta, on the other hand, in a bit of a world of hurt. Moses, with fractured foot, out for 8, maybe 12 weeks.
Yeah, that's a bad one, right? So they looked all right. They've had a good start to the year, the Eels, and he's been a big part of that, right? So that's a long break to be without him at halfback, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how they keep pace over that period of time, right? So nice addition when he comes back. They got to make sure they stay in the hunt while he's out, right? So Bryce Cartwright also injured as well, right? So he's out for an extended period as well. He was pretty good, right? That hit he put on the weekend, jeez, I've never seen him hit like that really in his career.
No, never in his history has he done that. Well, moving into the next pod, but he got named in the team today. So I don't know what is going on there with
Really?
Bryce Cartwright. We'll
Okay.
talk about that shortly. But the Broncos, Reece Walsh out for 6 to 8. Now they're talking maybe 4 with that face fracture. Piakura injured his ankle at training. He could be out for 4 weeks, and they've already got Haas out for 4.
Yeah, good. Um, the Broncos could be in a bit of trouble if they drop a few of those games, right, in the next few weeks, right? So certainly top four would be out of not out of reach, but much more difficult to get to. And I think if they really want to have a chance to win, they've got to be that top four. So a tough break with those injuries at this time of year. Walsh especially because he's such a spark at the back.
Yeah. Look, the only saving grace is that they've named Reynolds back at half, but
Yeah,
without those 3 guys, I don't think he's going to have that big of an influence. But look, let's see what the depth of the Broncos is like. Speaking of depth, the Sharks have lost half their pack with Fanuka, Rudolph, and Hunt all injured.
yeah. Well, um, who cares? It's the Sharks, right? So, yeah. Look, it's a big loss of 3 guys who play in the middle of the field, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how they get that together in the next few weeks, right? So
Yeah.
they're our sort of team, the Sharkies. They're never going to beat you by a big score. So they need those guys to help win that middle of the ruck. So yeah, interesting times to see how they contend with that in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Have to have a look at their run. Yeah.
Agree. Roosters lose Lindsay Collins, and they've already lost Spencer Leniu through suspension. Gee, their forwards are looking thin.
Well, I looked at their forward pack today for this week. I think they look pretty good still, right? Um, yeah, obviously not ideal because he's become a really good player, Lindsay Collins, right? Um, but I still think the Roosters will be okay there. I think they look all right. I think they'll still win this week against the Panthers,
Yeah,
but
well,
not ideal.
to be honest, I think lucky Cleary's not playing. I think that makes it different. And the odds just completely flipped. It had the Penrith Panthers at about $1.80 and Roosters at 2.30, and now it's completely flipped with Cleary out. So I find that really interesting. Titans, well, just a bad season got worse. Tino's out for the season. I, honestly, I'm a Tits fan. I can't see him recovering from this.
Yeah, look, best player by an absolute mile, Tino, and to be without him, I look. Let's see where they go, right? So they're still going to win some games, right? So Fafita potentially back this week. That'll be a good in for them as well. But Tino's the spiritual leader, right? So big loss and a big loss for Queensland in State of Origin because the guy is a mongrel on the field.
No, exactly right. And that was just injuries from this round. I mean, you add to the likes of Tom Gilbert out for the season, Helen Lukey for 2 months, Cohen Hess for the season, Saab for a couple of months, Munster's still missing, Campbell Graham's not back till round 22. What's going on with all the injuries this year? I can't believe it.
Yeah, I'm going to do some stretching over the weekend because I might get a call up for Origin, right? So, yeah, look, it's been a funny start to the year, but you know what? Maybe you're better to have them early in the year than around finals time, right?
Well, yeah, I couldn't
If
agree
you
more.
make it.
Better off having them now and still being available later, but holy. Anyway, mate, that's the end of our special pod because gee, that was a lot of people that got injured recently. And look, I hope your stretching goes well, mate, and I hope you're in for next week.
All right. Take care of your bodies.